Hello guys, welcome back to the video. Today we are reacting to Film Theory, why your favorite movie theater won't survive 2020 by the Film Theory. So subscribe, like the video, hit that bell, go to my second channel down in the description below, subscribe to my second channel, like the videos on my second channel, click that bell on my second channel, go to my description down below, for my Twitch, follow my Twitch. Down below also is my Reddit. Follow my Reddit, post on my Reddit, and down below is also my Discord. Go to my Discord if you want to chat and stuff. So do all of those things right now, because if you don't know how to follow directions, and you're the only person that doesn't know how to follow directions. And I'm also going to be very sad. So do all of those things. Do all of those things. All right. Do all of those things. So yeah, in 3, 2, 1, let's react.
Ready for our date night to the movies?
Yeah.
What do you want to go see?
I'm in the mood for something scary.
Well, there's that new Gretel and Hansel movie. Invisible Man was supposed to be good. Oh, wait, maybe Candyman's out.
I want to see something really scary.
Well, there's this classic movie theater doing showings of Halloween and Psycho.
Not scary enough. This is what I want to go see.
No, anything but that.
Trolls? Trolls is the scariest movie of 2020. Really, Trolls 2, the sequel of Trolls, is the scariest movie of 2020. Wow.
No! Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that's always worth the price of admission because the price is free. It's no secret that social distancing has hurt a lot of businesses, restaurants.
What is that? Is that like the Mona Lisa prepared for the coronavirus? Is that what that is? Is that what it is? Who made that? That should be in the loop, because is it the loop? That where the Mona Lisa is? This should be in a museum to know what happened. You know, from when Leonardo da Vinci painted Mona Lisa to now. This is the Mona Lisa now.
Social distancing has hurt a lot of businesses. Restaurants, sports, theme parks. I mean, that creepy dude who sits on my street corner always selling hand sanitizer is killing it right now.
Want some lotion?
But other than him, I think a lot of us are feeling it. And none may be worse off than movie theaters. Across the globe, theaters have been closed for months now, or at the very least have been operating with heavily reduced seating. Studios have delayed the theatrical releases of all their biggest films. Reports are even coming out that AMC, the largest movie theater chain in the world, is on the cusp of filing for bankruptcy, which they better not do, because A-list is like my favorite thing.
AMC is filing for bankruptcy? Really? Wow.
In the world. But the financial problems for movie theaters didn't begin with social distancing, and they certainly won't end once social distancing is lifted. On the surface, it seems weird to say that movie theaters are in trouble, right? After all, each year we see box office records being smashed by one Disney-owned property or another, but while a select number of blockbuster movies might be killing it at the box office these days, fewer people are going to the movies overall. US movie ticket sales hit a 25-year low in 2017, despite that year having massive movies like Spider-Man Homecoming, Wonder Woman, Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the Beauty and the Beast remake, Despicable Me 3, and The Last
Almost all of those movies were owned by Disney, were made by Disney. The only one that wasn't was Despicable Me 3. Disney is really has a lot of money. Disney has a lot of money, but yeah. Because people want to get it on Netflix. Netflix is really killing the theaters. The theaters don't want Netflix, and Netflix doesn't want theaters. Because when people go to the theaters, less people go on Netflix. When people go on Netflix, less people go on to the theaters. So it makes sense, because everyone's got a Netflix subscription, one way or another.
Jedi, which, you know, mattered since that was before people started hating on Star Wars again. If you have a killer lineup of movies like that all in the same year and you are still struggling to sell tickets, bro, there is something definitely wrong. And in the case of theaters, there's a lot wrong. The first problem is the trend of the rising cost of movie tickets. Ticket prices today are
Yeah, the ticket prices are rising like every single year. One year is like 100, the others like 150. It's always um going to rise. All the ticket prices are always going to rise. And the other factor is Netflix.
109% higher than they were back in 1995, which you would expect some level of price increase, but it is still far outpacing inflation. And those higher prices are making audiences a bit choosier about what movies they're gonna go see in theaters and what movies they're gonna go ahead and watch at home via video on demand. So movie theaters find themselves caught in a bit of a catch-22. Fewer ticket sales means that they have to have higher ticket prices in order to make up for that lost revenue, but in return, higher ticket prices cause fewer ticket sales. Also, because the movie theater.
So it's just a loop. To fix the fewer ticket sales, you gotta rise the price. But to rise the price, there needs to be fewer ticket sales. So it's just a loop of disaster.
Are so dependent on big blockbuster movies nowadays, they're very susceptible to flops. According to Thrillist, quote, studios get around 90% of the revenue from a movie in its first week of release, which diminishes over subsequent weeks with more money going to the theaters, end quote. In other words, movie theaters depend on movies to succeed and draw audiences for multiple weeks because on week one, they're not making much off of those ticket sales. It's only in the later weeks that those tickets are making them much money, but that sort of arrangement puts theaters in a dangerous position.
Yeah, because when the movie comes out, when you're excited about a movie, you're gonna watch it as recently as possible. Because you're not gonna watch it like 2 weeks after the release. Maybe, but fewer people are gonna watch it because of 2 weeks after the release. It just week one is where people actually come in. You know.
If a blockbuster is a flop and audiences taper out after that opening weekend, then the movie theater is losing out on what could have been the most lucrative weekends for them. It's not as though there's a new blockbuster for them to offer every weekend either. As the major film studios continue to gobble each other up, fewer big studios mean fewer big movies. According to Business Insider, quote, the number of wide releases by the 6 major studios, Warner Brothers, Walt Disney, 20th Century Fox, back when that was still relevant, Paramount Pictures, Sony Pictures, and Universal has been on a downward.
I mean, that's all of the movie theaters. I mean, it's all of the major studios. There's no other studios. There's like the Lion thing that made like Tom and Jerry or something. But that's the only one. Because it's all of these big boys. Actually, it's 5 now because these 2 are merged. And these 4 are still there. But yeah.
Trend since 2006, end quote.
Really? Disney has been on a downward trend since 2006. There's no way that Disney has been on a downward trend since 2006. No way.
The other problem with this pricing model, as it concerns theaters though, is how we consume movies these days. With more emphasis on blockbuster movies, there's more pressure to see those movies as soon as possible, so you can be a part of the cultural conversation, or simply to avoid spoilers. I mean, thanks to social media, half the planet knew the ending of Infinity War like that. Oh shoot, no, don't dust away, no, I come back, I wasn't snapping and oh damn it, I lose more backgrounds that way. Curse my reality-defying snaps. The long and short of it is that the need to consume content immediately means that opening weekends, the time when the theaters are making the least money, are huge, but subsequent weekends, when theaters stand to make more of that money, are actually much lower in overall ticket sales. And if all of that weren't already enough issues plaguing movie theaters, there's the shrinking theatrical window attacking them on the other side. The theatrical window is the period of time between a movie's release in theaters and when it's made available for home viewing on videotape, DVD, or streaming. The longer that theatrical window, the more incentive audiences have to go see the film in theaters. It's not like you're gonna wait 6 months to go see Endgame, but maybe you'd be willing to wait 2 or 3 months for it to show up on Netflix, right? Now, if it seems that the theatrical window has shrunk a bit over the years, it's not your imagination. It has. A couple decades ago, a typical movie would have a 5 to 6 month gap between its theatrical release and its home video release. As of 2019, the theatrical window is now 3 months. Studios would love to cut the movie theater middlemen out of the distribution process altogether, keep all of that money for themselves, and they will will do it if and when technology allows them to do it in a financially beneficial way. So movie theaters have been in trouble for a while, and they've been fighting an uphill battle against technological advancements like video on demand for decades. But now, here in 2020, all bets are completely off. Social distancing has thrown gasoline on this garbage fire. With theatrical releases compromised by the pandemic, studios are scrambling to find new and creative release strategies. Onward, for example, was made available for free streaming on Disney Plus less than a month after its theatrical release. Major films like Invisible Man and The Hunt skipped straight from theaters into immediate home premieres, and then there's Trolls World Tour, which called a complete audible and went on for a full digital release, bypassing theaters altogether. So the $11 billion per year question that we're asking today is this: has COVID-19 killed theaters as we know?
Maybe.
To answer this, we first have to consider two simple truths. One, there will always be people who value the experience of seeing a movie in the cinema and will be willing to pay a premium for that experience. And two, there will also always be people who spring for the cheapest option. As long as there have been movies, there have been teens eager to pay for whatever schlock is on the screen so they can make out in the privacy of the back row. Is that a thing that real people do, by the way, or is this just a lie that the media has been feeding me for years? Are real people...
I mean, they say that people actually do it, but you don't actually know. You don't actually know. You don't check the back row to see what's happening. You don't check the back row to see what's happening. Your focus is on the movie and the popcorn.
People actually doing this? Because I go to a lot of movies, and granted I sit in the middle of the theater, so maybe I don't know what's going on in the back row. Maybe I don't want to know what's going on in the back row.
I mean, the back row is always the best seats. The front row is the worst seats because when you have the front row, it's like different for movie theaters and like sports games. So sports games, you want to be on the front row, but for movie theaters, you want to be at the back row because you actually have a better view on the back row and the screen seems larger. So I think the back row is the best seat in the movie theater. That's what I think.
Anyone in the comments, can you guys let me know, is this a thing? Have you made out in a back of a movie theater? Just really curious. Anyway, regardless of whether that specifically is happening, there will always be teenagers who use the movies as an excuse to hang out with their friends in private, so they will always be there. Similarly, for as long as there have been movies, there have been cinema purists out there who love the smell of stale popcorn, love the strange stickiness on the floor that never seems to go away under their feet, and want the chance to experience the stories from their favorite...
I mean, I'm not like a cinema purist. I would rather have a movie on the TV than the movie theaters. I would rather have that happen. Let's just watch much better than movie theaters. I mean, there's no popcorn and all of that stuff, but popcorn is really expensive. Like every single like food item that the theaters have is very, very expensive.
Directors projected onto the biggest screens possible in the lowest quality possible because that gives them the authentic experience. You see, this one was filmed on 100% tanned lamb skin. The graininess of the sinews of the skin make it that much more real. These are the types of people who ensure that the cinemas remain, at least in one form or another, for generations to come. But I emphasize in one form or another because movie theaters as we know them are indeed headed the way of the dinosaur. And yes, COVID-19 has hastened the demise of those theaters. But to truly understand why, we turn to our Exhibit A, Trolls World Tour. If you had told me 2 months ago that I was going to be making a film theory episode...
I mean, why is there a Trolls sequel? You don't want a Trolls sequel. How much did it make at the box office? It's probably make like $500 million in the box office. But no one wants a Trolls sequel. No one wants a Trolls sequel.
About Trolls World Tour, I would have assumed that you were, trolling me. But the way things have played out, well, Trolls World Tour, first off, is like the only thing to talk about. But two, Trolls World Tour has proven to be a downright historic movie. Wrap your head around that one, friends. It's already the most pre-ordered movie of all time. And
the most pre-ordered movie of all time. Trolls World Tour. The most pre-ordered movie of all time. Wow.
It's the best-selling film over 3 days of digital release. Amazon Prime isn't as transparent with its revenue numbers as...
But that's probably gonna get beaten by some other streaming service because some other movie. Because Disney's gonna get... Disney already has Disney Plus. when Disney comes and puts their new movies out in the digital world on Disney Plus, that record's gonna get beaten. Definitely. That's definitely gonna get beaten.
The theatrical box offices, and as a result, we don't really know how much the movie, which cost an estimated $100 million to make, has raked in so far, but what we do know is that for a period of time, it was the #1 film on Amazon Prime, and that is irrespective of what that movie costs to rent. So put another way, Trolls World Tour cost $19.99 to rent online for 48 hours. It was rented more times than anything else on the site, including all of the far, far cheaper movies that were being offered. Even without knowing the revenue numbers, it's tough to frame that as anything other than a success. And that brings us to our first big change coming to a movie theater near you. If and when digital releases prove themselves more profitable to the studios, family films are going to be the first to ditch the theaters. The savings that video on demand offer to families are simply too huge. The average movie ticket price in the US is $9.11. Meanwhile, Trolls...
That seems like a lot. That seems like a lot. That seems like a lot for a movie ticket. Definitely seems like a lot.
World Tour, one of the few real-world examples available to us of a high-budget movie with 100% digital release, costs $20 on Amazon Prime or Google Play. It's not hard to see how this becomes cost-effective for families in a hurry. A large popcorn costs about $8.50 at AMC. A large soda is more than $6. If you're a parent with 2 kids who both want snacks, you're
you're gonna save more money if you go for a digital release than go to the theaters and buy some snacks and go to the movie theater. So it's all gonna be something, because you don't need to buy like 3 copies of Trolls World Tour for you don't need to buy like 5 copies of Trolls World Tour for like 5 people. You can buy 1 copy for a whole bunch of people. So it makes sense. And definitely makes sense.
Dropping $30 on tickets alone, plus concessions, you're looking at nearly $100 for one night just to watch Trolls World Tour. Oof! That is a big oof.
That's a
and
big
let me
oof.
tell ya, even though my little
That's a
guy is still too
Roblox
young to go see the movies, something tells me that the joy of watching him experience the cinema is not gonna be worth the $100 price for admission. You think parents want the headache of wrangling up their kids for every movie that comes along and then want to pay a premium to go see Trolls World Tour? No. Video on Demand allows families to turn their living rooms into cost-effective movie theaters. Video on Demand offers a pause button for bathroom breaks. It offers parents the option to make popcorn in the kitchen for like 8.5 cents.
Yeah, there's a pause button for a bathroom break. Because if you're gonna go for a bathroom break, it's always the worst thing, because you can't pause the movie for everyone there. So you're gonna miss like 5-7 minutes of a movie. So yeah, that's definitely a good pause button for you going to take a piss.
Instead of $8.50. Video on demand is cheaper, it's easier, and if studios figure out a way to make it more profitable, supply and demand will meet. It is the future of family movies. The second change you can expect to see at the movie theater is an unwelcome one: even higher prices. We discussed earlier how ticket prices have been rising for 25 years, outpacing inflation by a mile, and yet people keep ponying up for these higher ticket prices because over the decades, theaters have adapted and found new ways to make going to the movies an event. You already know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 3D showings, Dolby sound systems, IMAX, 4DX showings with seats that vibrate and spray smells at ya. But for a lot...
What? There are seats like that? They shake your seats and they put scents on you? That's the best. I want to go to that movie theater that has that. I want to go to that movie theater. I don't want to experience... If I had a choice to go to a movie theater and spend some more money than go to the home, I want to go to that theater that smells at you and rocks your chair, because that's gonna be pretty fun, isn't it? But when you're like sitting on a chair, it doesn't really do anything. Or if it's a rocking chair, that's something. It's gonna be hard to spray scents that the movies replicate. You gotta replicate that scent, and you gotta rock your chair, and you specifically need a rocking chair because, you know, you got to rock the chair and do some stuff. That's gonna be hard to replicate in home, but I haven't experienced that, so Yeah.
For the audience, these gimmicks are wearing thin. 3D showings saw a huge surge in the aftermath of Avatar the Non-Airbender as they offered a reason for theaters to charge more for tickets. And they gave people a reason to go to the theaters again, because your home screen isn't going to be projecting a 3D movie in quite the same way. But
Yeah, sometimes there's like 3D glasses for a 3D movie, but you know.
now, 10 years later, 3D is dying, if not already dead, just like it died in the 80s and in the 50s. People are over it, and fewer audiences are going to be convinced about the value of a Dolby experience or an IMAX experience. Does slightly better sound make that much of a difference that it merits a higher ticket price? Let's
Yeah,
face it,
no.
not every movie is going to be conducive to a 4DX experience. Like, who's going to pay extra to experience the 4DX smells of Little Women? They'll
4DX. I haven't experienced 4DX. So, if have you experienced 4DX? I mean, I'd want to experience 4DX. That'd be the time of my life watching Avengers Endgame for the second time. That would be the time of my life.
spray hay in your face. Seriously though, if I can stop the theory here for a second, Little Women was a great movie. In fact, it was one of my favorites of last year, and you should not sleep on it if you haven't watched it yet. It was wonderful. Just, you know, not a movie I could really cover on this channel. I mean, what would I theorize about? Was Marmee secretly a Confederate sympathizer? Yeah, hard pass. Anyway, we already know movie theaters are gonna have to raise prices in order to stay afloat nonetheless, and in a
Yeah.
post-COVID-19 world, we can't expect any businesses, let alone theaters, to somehow cram more seats in closer together. So it's simple economics that brings us to the third and perhaps the most significant change to movie theaters. The one that will kill theaters as we know them forever. We're gonna get fewer but bigger theaters. First, understand that this was already a trend that was happening. In 1995, there were 7,744 cinema sites in the US. By 2018, that number was down to 5,869. And yet,
So the theaters are gradually reducing. They're going out, and at one point they're gonna be dead. There's gonna be no movie theaters. Only the digital world that's the only thing that's gonna be happening. The digital world. Yeah.
overall number of tickets sold didn't see anywhere near the kind of drop that you would expect over that time period. How is that possible? The megaplex. The AMC's and Regal Cinemas of the world offer moviegoers dozens of movie screens in massive rooms in one theater complex. Thanks to streaming, audiences are strong, independent, and don't need no theater to go watch their favorite movie within a month of release. Movie theaters responded by offering a wider variety of movies than ever before. Megaplexes have put countless small theaters out of business over the years, and now it seems it's the megaplex's turn to be put out of business. But by what? What's bigger than a megaplex? I'll tell you exactly what. Stadiums. I can hear you in the comments. You think that your internet friend Matt Pat has gone crazy, but think of it
Yeah. Stadiums. Really, Matt Pat? Really? Stadiums?
this way. Way more people watch football games on TV than they do in person. But there are still enough fans out there that love the live experience.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like any sports fan, you want to go to the stadium to experience it. If there's a sports fan out there that doesn't want to go to their favorite sports team's stadium to experience it in real life, I don't know what kind of sports fan are you. I want to go to a basketball, an NBA game. You probably want to go to an NFL game, an MLB game, an NHL game, anything. You want to go to a sports stadium or anything because you want to support your team while them actually being there in real life.
To fill stadiums each and every week, right? Same thing with music. The vast majority of music gets consumed on demand by the consumer, not at live shows, and yet
Really, Rick Astley's never gonna give you up. Is that the music you're listening to? Probably if you're just getting rickrolled every single time that you think that you're gonna get free V-Bucks on Fortnite. Yeah.
there are still enough music fans to fill up stadiums for rock concerts. See what I'm getting at? Sporting events do it, rock concerts do it, and soon blockbuster movies will do it too. Sure, you'll have smaller theaters to cater to the smaller indie movies, just like you have smaller clubs that cater to the smaller name bands, but for the big experiences, that's where the megaplexes will come in. Recently, a series of tweets went viral that overlaid audience responses to Avengers Endgame. The reactions sound like you're at a stadium. It's the same thing for watching horror movies movies in a theater. Movies are already skewing to those big, crowd-pleasing event moments, weaponizing our emotions so that, as a collective viewing group,
Yeah. Cinemas always have that feeling like when I watched Avengers Endgame, it was people were excited, very excited about when he said I am Iron Man. Sorry, Endgame spoilers. Look away, because you don't want Endgame spoilers, even if it's 1 year after. But when he said I'm Iron Man, people just took off.
we're all swept up in what's happening on the screen. That is what's making them feel like events. There will always be short-lived gimmicks here and there, but it's the emotion of seeing something happen with a bunch of other people that is the one true differentiating factor that no at-home experience can ever replicate.
Yeah.
And what can do that better than the biggest screening venue possible, a stadium? Heck, for an example, just look at gaming competitions. They're holding video game competitions in stadiums as we speak. Esports arenas are a thing, and it's not because you can't get it online. Of course, those are streaming with better viewing angles, but it's because you want to be there and experience it live. Movie theaters
Yeah.
have only survived this long because they've managed to make going into the movies an event. Times are only getting tougher for movie theaters, and that means they're gonna have to pull off bigger and bigger events to stay relevant. The statistics don't lie. So you ready to watch the next generation of the Avengers in the Rose Bowl? You ready for Spider-Man 27 at Wrigley Field? If not,
Spider-Man 27. Will there ever be a Spider-Man 27? We will never know, because by that time you're probably gonna be old. Or dead. You know, or just Spider-Man was cancelled. I don't know.
best start bracing yourself now, because it's happening. And you can make it happen a little bit faster with the help of our sponsor for today's episode, NordVPN.
Really? NordVPN? Alright, so yeah, thanks for watching. Do everything I said in the intro, because if you didn't do everything I said in the intro, you don't know how to follow directions. So do everything I said in the intro, alright? I'm gonna be very sad if you don't. Please. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Of course, peace out, peace.